when you don't take care of yourself, you're so deprived of your patience. You're so deprived of your grace. You don't even know how to access the love and the kindness and maybe even just the analysis, whether it's at work or whether it's at home, of what to do in a situation or how to respond appropriately and gracefully. When you prioritize your self-care, however, whether that's in setting boundaries, taking time for yourself, doing the mental and emotional work it takes to build up those muscles, to really flex those muscles, or just simply saying no to something that doesn't serve you, right? So whether it's an invitation to a party or whether it's to help somebody, when you prioritize self-care, you're building your mental and emotional resilience. You're saying, I matter. Welcome to Becoming Tantalum with me, Megan Bennell. Discover your brightest self in a journey of transformation and resilience. Let's embark on this path together, starting now. Hello, and welcome back to Becoming Tantalum. I'm Megan Bennell, and today we're going to tackle a topic that a lot of us struggle with, and that's being selfish. But I'm not talking about like self-centered, right? It's not it's all about me type of selfish. I'm talking about the kind of selfish that's actually the most generous thing you can do for yourself and the people around you. So if you're someone who constantly feels like you need to show up for others, whether it's for your job or your family or your friends, today's episode, my friend, is for you, because we are going to be diving into how taking care of yourself is not selfish, but it's necessary. And in fact, it's the only way you can truly show up as the very best version of you. So if you're ready, let's get to it. So let's start by busting a myth. That is that self-care is not selfish. Repeat that with me. Self-care is not selfish. You wouldn't expect your phone to run all day long on 1% battery, like you're just waiting for it to die. So why do we expect ourselves to function at full capacity when we're running on empty all the time? We need to recharge. And just like that phone, we have to make sure that our battery is healthy. So you, my friend, need to recharge and make sure that your battery is healthy. Think about it like this. You're a mom or a business owner, or maybe you're both, and you're running around taking care of everyone else's needs. You're on your fifth cup of coffee, trying to juggle 100 things, and you've convinced yourself that if you stop, even for just a second, that the world's going to implode. And maybe that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but sometimes it feels that way, that if we even just take 1 second, that all of a sudden everything is going to fall apart. Spoiler alert, it won't. It's not going to fall apart. And in fact, it's going to be run better, smoother, easier if you have a full battery and a healthy battery. So here's what's going to happen though, if you don't. So if you are constantly going, you're on your fifth cup of coffee, you feel like everything's just going to fall apart. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to fall apart. You're going to burn out. You'll start showing up frazzled, overwhelmed, and probably not as patient or kind or loving as you'd like to be, not as put together, not as responding in as gracefully and easily of manner, right? And that doesn't serve anyone, does it? Here's a quote that I love from Audre Lorde. She said, caring for myself, is not self-indulgent. It's self-preservation. And that is an act of political warfare. Well, that just got real, right? That's how big of a deal this really is. When you take care of yourself, you're preserving your energy, your mental health, and your emotional well-being. And when you do that, guess what? You show up better for the people that you love and for the world around you. Here's another hard truth. If you're living your life for other people, you are never fully living as your true self. I see so many women in particular, some men, who feel like their purpose is to be everything to everyone. Can you relate? Because I know I can. Raise my hand high as I can. That absolutely used to be me. They think that they're being good, quote unquote, by always saying yes, by always putting themselves last, by always putting their needs on the back burner, which, by the way, they never get to and burned out long ago. But the truth is that when you constantly prioritize everyone else, you're never allowing yourself the space to grow into the best version of you, which then you could offer to the world. Let me give you an example. You've probably heard this phrase of you can't pour from an empty cup, I'm sure. But let's take that a step further. Imagine that you're the only person holding a pitcher and everyone around you is walking around with an empty glass asking for a refill. Nonstop, by the way, right? You keep pouring and thinking you're helping, but eventually your pitcher runs dry. And when that happens, not only do you have nothing left to give, but you're also depleted and frustrated. And so then how do you show up? Now you don't have anything in your pitcher to refill, and you're totally outside of that normal person, that person that you want to be, show up as every day. But what if you took the time that it took, whatever it was, to refill that pitcher first? What if you stopped for a moment to take care of yourself? Now, when you show up to pour into others, you're doing it from a place of abundance, not from depletion. Tony Robbins said this quote, and I absolutely love it. The only way to have anything to give to others is to take care of yourself first. The only way to have anything to give to others is to take care of yourself first. Living your life for others means that you're showing up as a shadow of yourself, not as the full, powerful person that you're meant to be. And when you're running on empty, you're not giving people your best. You're giving them what's left. And I'm sure if you're looking at those around you that you love, your little village that you have, or maybe those people that are counting on you at work, you want to give them your best. But when you're living for other people, all they're getting is what's left over. One of the biggest gifts that you can give to yourself and to those in your world, those that you love, those that you work with, is being mentally and emotionally strong. But here's the kicker. You can't build that strength if you're constantly putting yourself last. If you're ignoring it, if you're not putting in that time, that work, you're never going to be able to give them that strong mental and strong emotional side of you. Think about the times that you've felt burnt out or stressed or overwhelmed. Were you at your best? Probably not. And listen, I don't know about you, but when I'm sleep deprived, oh my gosh, which happens, right? 4 kids, all the things, and I haven't taken care of myself, when I find myself getting into that bad habit, I'm one question away from snapping at somebody for asking like where a cereal box is. And that's not a great look, people. But it's serious. When you don't take care of yourself, you're so deprived of your patience. You're so deprived of your grace. You don't even know how to access the love and the kindness and maybe even just the analysis, whether it's at work or whether it's at home, of what to do in a situation or how to respond appropriately and gracefully. When you prioritize your self-care, however, whether that's in setting boundaries, taking time for yourself, doing the mental and emotional work it takes to build up those muscles, to really flex those muscles, or just simply saying no to something that doesn't serve you, right? So whether it's an invitation to a party or whether it's to help somebody, when you prioritize self-care, you're building your mental and emotional resilience. You're saying, I matter. My well-being matters. And when you're mentally and emotionally strong, you're unstoppable. And imagine what that does for the people around you. When you say, I matter, my well-being matters, they see that. You're modeling for them how they also can choose self-care and showing up as the best version of themselves instead of burned out and stressed and depleted. When you take care of yourself, when you invest in your self-care, you can handle challenges with grace. You can make better decisions and show up as the very best version of yourself in all areas of your life. You can wear all those hats and do such a better job. Taking time for self-care isn't just about bubble baths and face masks, though. It's about creating the space to strengthen your mind and your heart so that you can show up as the best version of yourself for your family, for work, for the world. I think a lot of us fall into this trap. We show up because we need to, right? We tell ourselves, I have to be there for everyone else. I have to say yes for this. I have to help them for this. And we feel guilty if we take any time for ourselves. I remember feeling this way. There was a birthday party, all the birthday parties with all the kids, right? And it just really wasn't something that I could make happen. And yet I did everything in my power, broke plans, didn't do, some things that we needed to do as a family to make this happen. And the ruckus that it caused on our life for this one birthday party was awful. And I just remember thinking back on that time. I used to be just an absolute yes person. I would say yes to everything. And the stress that just that one birthday party caused in our life for literally the next week was not necessary. It was not something that was required. I did not need to say yes to that. What I needed to do was to say no for me and for our family. And I remember that I said yes because we technically had the time to make it happen, but we didn't. Just because I didn't have concrete plans to be somewhere else doesn't mean that we didn't have plans that needed to happen. Because here's the reality: showing up because you feel like you have to is really a disservice. That was certainly a disservice to me, to my family, and to the people that we were showing up for. I remember being so stressed during the birthday party, not really enjoying that time, feeling like I was rushing my kids, like, go have fun, we gotta go. None of that's necessary. It's a disservice to us, to me, to the people at the party. Imagine that you're going to a birthday party. Let's put you in my shoes and you're exhausted, right? You knew that this was going to be the case because you had 5 other obligations earlier that day, making your day full of running around and doing all the things. And you have a very full day the next day. And you know that you're just going to need a break, need to reset. There's a few things that need to be done at home, but you say yes because you feel bad saying no, right? You feel obligated to go. So you drag your family there. But the whole time, you're not present. You're checking your phone. You're thinking about what you need to do for tomorrow, how late you're going to have to stay up to make that happen, how that's going to make tomorrow so much worse because you're so tired. Everybody's so exhausted. You're just counting down the minutes until you can leave and trying to make a mental task list of all the things so you don't forget anything. Does that serve anyone? No. The kid whose birthday party doesn't get the best version of you. The people at the party don't get the best version of you, your kids, your family, anybody, and you're not enjoying yourself. That's a lose-lose. You're not serving anyone. I think Dr. Brene Brown said it perfectly when she said, daring to set boundaries is about having the courage to love ourselves, even when we risk disappointing others. So it could be a bake sale someone to ask you to help with, or an event somebody asked you to help with, a party somebody asked you to go to, dinner that somebody wanted your family to come to. You're worried about disappointing them, but be daring to set boundaries for what you know you need, for what you know your family needs. Because when you show up because you want to, not because you're obligated, you bring a totally different energy to wherever you are. You're engaged, you're present, you're offering your best self. And that's when you can truly make a difference. This whole topic of self-care is actually the path that led me to be a life coach altogether. I used to be what I considered at the time to be a really selfless person. I was always worried about others. I was a people pleaser to the max. I know I've talked about that before, and I would break myself down, like ruin myself trying to make other people happy. And while I was really good at it, like if there was an Olympic medal, I should have earned it for sure. It left me feeling super alone, even though I was never alone, and helpless. And I felt like I was truly depending on other people for what should have made me feel good, right? So I I was depending on, or how successful I felt, I guess I should say, depended on those people around me. How happy I was depended on those people around me. I felt successful in life when other people around me were taken care of and they were happy. And because of that, the joy in my life was totally fleeting, because I had this constant feeling of never being good enough, except for these little tiny bits where people would say like, "Oh my gosh, that was great. You make me so happy. Like that was so successful." But the thing is that I was failing, right? I was failing because I was trying to complete a task that wasn't mine to complete. My success at that time was making other people happy. That's not my job. That's not my responsibility. And I was never going to be good enough because that's an impossible task and not one to take on. It's not my responsibility. It wasn't possible. And so I was living in this constant state of feeling like a failure and feeling so alone. There's only one person in this whole world that I truly have control over as far as their thoughts and their feelings and their results. And that's me, period. And it's like there was this flip inside, or the switch inside my brain that just flipped. And I realized I had a lot of work to do. And I didn't even know who I was. My whole life had been about other people. I had a ton to learn. And the path was, man, it was tough. It was emotionally tough. It was mentally draining. And it was worth every damn second. My friend, making this journey changed my life. That's a bold statement. And I think that it's not bold enough. My entire life, my relationships, my job, my relationship with my body, my relationship with money, my friends, how I showed up as a mom, all of it changed. And the only thing that changed was me. I finally started taking care of myself. I learned about self-awareness. I learned about the connection between my thoughts and my actions. I learned that emotions weren't something to fear, but something to feel. I learned the skills and the tools necessary to approach any situation, to, address any problem that there was, to really allow any experience to happen, and to truly take care of me. One thing that I think shocked me the most when I flipped on my self-care switch, if you will, and maybe you can relate to this, is that I learned that I'm responsible for what I need in life. I'm responsible. So my needs need to be met by me. I used to rely on my husband to feel loved, right? And I used to rely on my job to feel successful, and my family and my friends to feel included. I relied on all those external sources to feel good about myself and about my life. But when I turned that back on me, when I took responsibility for really what is my responsibility and truly embraced the challenge of meeting all of my own needs, it was mind blowing. And do you know what happened? I didn't need anyone, no one, which meant every relationship I had, I was there just to be, just to give, and not to need. There were no expectations. There was no wishful thinking. I just got to show up as mentally and emotionally strong me, just me. It changed everything. And what that meant for everyone around me is that they got this amazing new version of myself who constantly showed up consistently as the same person every day. Me, who didn't react, but responded, who wasn't seeking validation, just giving love, who wasn't manipulated by statements or situations, just me, who wasn't influenced by other people's emotions. I feel amazing showing up as that person, being that person. But it's even more amazing to see how that person showing up like that affected those around me, because they get a far stronger, healthier, more consistent, not burned out version of exactly who I am. It changed my life. So much so that I knew that I needed to do the same for others, help them with being exactly who they are, controlling what they can control, learning how to truly care about themselves, be responsible for themselves, and using all of that power to build the life that they love. I wanted to teach how to get into your own mind, how to clean it up, how to turn it into an unstoppable force. I wanted to teach not just the value of self-love and self-care, but how to self-love and how to go about self-care. It's not selfish. It's necessary for you to contribute to the world as the best version of yourself. And that's exactly why I am where I am now, because this whole concept, everything that I teach, all of that changed my life. And bonus, so that you know, if you've ever considered going on this journey of really diving into you, learning you, loving you, changing you, it's so much easier. My friends, it is so much easier to experience life's ups and downs this way. It is so much more fun. It's more fun living this life being strong and stable and in control of me. And I'm telling you, it's a whole different world. And yet nothing changed but me. And I want that for you. And it all starts with really embracing the idea of filling your pitcher, making your battery healthy, and charging it. I'm not giving you permission. You don't need my permission. I want to remind you that it's okay to take care of yourself. And in fact, it's more than okay. It's essential. You can't show up as the best mom, business owner, partner, friend if you're constantly running on fumes, if you're living for someone else. You need to refill your tank. You need to live for you. So here's some things that you can do. One, set boundaries. Take a look at your schedule just this week. Just this week. Where can you carve out time for yourself? Even if it's just 10 minutes, 30 minutes of you time, and make it non-negotiable. Set that boundary. There's lots of boundaries in your life to be set, I'm sure. Set that boundary. Each week, set just a little bit of time aside for you. The second thing is let go of guilt. Oh my goodness, you guys, I used to just be guilty over everything. Like if there could be a job where you get paid for being guilty, I would be a bazillionaire. Is that a word? It's going to be a word. The thing is that you're not selfish by taking care of yourself. I always felt like it was. I always felt so much guilt for anything that I did for myself. In fact, my husband used to make fun of me all the time for it because for my birthday or for Christmas or whatever, people gave me things. I should have taken this now that I'm thinking about it. I should have taken this as a sign that something needed to change. People would give me all the things for self-care. They would get me manicures and they would get me pedicures and they would get me trips to a spa and they would get me massages and all, and gift certificates. Like, you go do you. I'll take care of the kids. I heard that all the time. I have so many gift cards that had piled up that I probably could have gone to get a massage, a pedicure, a manicure, a facial, whatever, every week for an entire year because I never did it because I had so much guilt over it. But you're not selfish for taking care of yourself. And again, it's not about the massages and the bubble baths, but that could be part of it, right? The idea is that you need to do what's necessary to show up as your best self for people in your life. And sometimes that's just time for you. I don't go and get massages every week. I don't go and get my nails done, but I always carve out time to take care of me. The third thing is to prioritize your mental and your emotional health. We live in such a great time right now where we have a microscope focused on the importance of mental health. And I love that. But I think that there's a piece missing, which is how do you do that? How is it that you get to the point where you're mentally and emotionally strong? Well, the first step that you need to take is prioritizing it. And luckily, we live in a culture that does that now, right? But you need to prioritize it. So whether it's journaling or mentaling, taking a walk, hiring a coach, having a quiet cup of coffee, having an exercise routine that's regular, whatever it is for you, find out what recharges you, what you need to build yourself up, and make that a regular part of your routine. Prioritize that. If you know you have a lot of work to do, get someone to help you. If you know that you just need relaxation time, like you're mentally and emotionally strong and you just need that time, take that time, prioritize it. The fourth thing is take the time and space to figure out you. So who are you? What do you want? How do you want to show up? What story inside your head do you need to tease out and retell? Are you your best friend? And if not, why? What do you need to do to become your own best friend? What are your needs and how can you take care of those needs instead of relying on others? I'm sure that you feel like you need to be loved and appreciated, that you feel like you need to be, you need to have fun, you need to have compliments. What can you do on your own to take care of all of those needs? And the last thing, and I'd love for you to do this for yourself today, figure out one thing that you want to work on with you and level up. So just pick one. Maybe it's a habit. Maybe it's a sneaky, icky thought. Maybe it's a common reaction that you have. Work one evolution at a time, one little piece, and start it. Go do it. Every day, work on that. Become that next best version of yourself. Master that one thing, and then move on to the next one. One version of yourself at a time for you. And that's going to ripple out to everybody else in your life. My friend, taking care of you isn't selfish. Fixing what's in your head isn't selfish. Making sure that you have time to recharge isn't selfish. It's, in fact, the most generous thing that you can do for yourself and for the people in your life, because then they get you, the very best full version of you. And when you show up as your best self, because you've taken the time to invest in your mental, emotional, and physical well-being. Everyone wins. You win. Everybody that your life touches wins. So give yourself permission to step into that self-care, really refilling your cup, recharging your battery, giving yourself the time and the space to work through your thoughts and your emotions, and watch how much more you have to give. Not out of obligation, but out of abundance. You deserve to live a life you love, and that starts with you. You know, we talked about filling up your pitcher and making sure that you can fill up everybody's glasses, but taking the time to make sure that it's full. I want you to be so mentally and emotionally strong that you just have a hose standing by right there all the time. You can refill that pitcher anytime you want, and that you're strong enough to take the time to refill that pitcher when you need. There's enough water to go around. You just need to know where to access it, and you just need to know when to refill. Thank you for joining me on Becoming Tantalum. And if you found value in today's episode, please share it with someone that you think needs to hear this message, that really needs to embrace the idea of giving themselves a bit of self-care. And remember, self-care isn't selfish. It's powerful. You, my friend, are powerful. Until next time, take care of you. See you next week. Thank you for joining me today. If you want to take all of these concepts and tools to a deeper level, apply them to your life, and watch the transformation happen, I would love for you to join the Tantalum Tribe. That's a monthly membership where all of our community has access to live coaching, self-paced courses, guest coaches, podcast study guides, anonymous question boards, and more. You too can transform your life using the tools and strategies that we have, with accountability built in from our community. I really hope that you join us at tantalumcoaching.com. That's TANTALUM coaching.com. Just click join the tribe. I can't wait to see you in there.
An Ironic Media production. Visit us at ironickmedia.com.